Thank you. So all these days you were listening to different technical lectures. You have different dreams of doing things. You are looking into different products available from different agencies in different platforms. You are aware of how to acquire such information and use it practically for your own dedicated research. In this lecture, I am trying to give a different perspective of doing research with the support of the society or community, whatever you say. I want to start with a small example, which is based from India, from where I am giving the lecture. I see a lot of Indian participants as well as Bangladeshi participants. When it comes to fulfilling your dreams, one of the main hindrances anyone is going to face is with respect to the financial resources you have. It is not different in research also. But if you can effectively utilize the resources in and around you, you can make wonderful achievements in doing your research. Whatever be the dream, there is a simple example cited. There was a young Air Force officer. He was serving in the Indian Air Force, but he was thinking that whatever he is doing in the Air Force is not benefiting the society in particular. He wanted to do something for the society. His name is Captain Gobinath. He wanted to make the life of people more comfortable. He wanted more people to fly. Then his dream was to start an aviation company without much resources. But when he started presenting his dreams, since he was not from a stable financial background, banks turned down his ambition. He approached many big credit investors also. All of them turned down his idea. But when he explained to the society, people started pouring in with pennies and coins and rupees and whatever it may be. He amazed a lot of money. Things are similar when it comes to crowdfunding. You are familiar with, many of you are familiar with crowdfunding. When there is a dream, someone is posting, people feel that it is part of their dream and they start financially funding such dreams. So if you have a research dream where the society can play a big role, citizen science is the take for you. In this lecture, I am trying to relate water quality and human health with a component of citizen science where their hands are going to support you incredibly to come out with a very good scientific data which can help your studies related to water quality and human health. So let us move forward. When you think of science, what was happening in the time till 20th century, you tell the discovery, you know the person, because most of the discoveries were individual based and self-funded. Of late, things change. Now, even if I tell the discovery, many of you will not be able to recollect who are the people involved in it because things have become multidisciplinary. I will tell always a simple example of a person of Indian origin, Winky. He was instrumental in identifying the structure and function of the ribosome, and his team was awarded Nobel Prize. But other than that, when we tell about the lithium-ion batteries or whatever it may be, we may be knowing one or two persons, but most of the discoveries are not known to our brains because it is multiple people who are involved and the funding comes from government or other funding grants. So because of that, there are a lot of changes. Of late, the recent trend is on citizen science. A lot of scientists are involved in collection and analysis of data relating to the natural world by members of the general public who don't have a typical academic qualification. But these people work as part of a collaborative project with really professional scientists guided by a proper scientific institution. A lot of examples are cited. We have a lot of citizens working in amateur astronomy, citizen oceanography, butterfly counts, ornithology, coral reefs, rocky reefs, even in agriculture. There are instances when farmer-to-farmer networks become more scientific than the research networks. They pass on scientific knowledge through informal networks monitored by a group of scientifically credible personalities. So such things are happening all over the world. Being a citizen also, you can become a scientist. What were the first steps if we look into the history of citizen science? Always the ornithologist ranked number one because they required large number of people observing the birds and giving them the data. So the Audubon team as well as the North American Bird Phenology Program are counted as one of the oldest steps of citizen science in scientifically documenting the migration of the birds. You can see the cards the people were using that time for Christmas bird count, as well as the type of information generated using North American Bird Phenology Program. This information are available in the internet. You can check for such information. So this has resulted in a wonderful data relating to the birds. In today's citizen science, we can have different sets of program, some composing of 3 different components. In some programs, we have all the 3 components. In some programs, you will have only 1 component. Basically, citizen science programs are long-running citizen science program because we have to have time series data sets. So it will be a long-running program. It can be citizen cyber science, where we mostly get involved in volunteer computing, volunteer thinking, passive sensing. Some citizen science program are basically intrinsic to the community science, where do it by yourself science is coming up. Civic sense science is coming up, or civic science is coming up. Participatory sensing is coming up. But in some of the programs, you can see all these 3 components are involved. So citizen science today is long running. It has got a cyber component. It can have a community component. So there are large number of globally relevant citizen science projects. And as I told earlier, it is the ornithologists who are leading most of the very famous citizen science programs. People are interested in knowing about the birds. They want to watch birds. So they are getting a lot of volunteers, some who have inherent interest in doing such things. So most of the world bird count programs are related to citizen science, but there are other programs also. But our interest is related to the environment. I have taken some of the slides from Bob, who is also a panelist today. Basically, when we get involved in the environment, it is very important to nurture a kid's idea on the environment from a young age itself. So when a kid is able to do something with respect to the environment, and if you try to involve them with the environment and related information, they may tend to become pro-environmental friendly individuals. So there are a lot of scientifically documented reports available. Based on the whole body of the research, it is apparent that there is a good link between this behavior. Childhood experiences in nature have a lasting effect on adults. Pro-environmentalism. So this is a very important factor. So we can have such sort of behavior groomed as part of the citizen science program, so that more and more people will become environment friendly. Coming to the science in citizen science related networks, we can see this has become a talk of the scientific literature in the recent past. From 2002 onwards, we have serious increase in the number of publications with citizen science as a keyword. And you can see there is an upsurge in the last 1 decade. There is a massive increase in the number of publications citing citizen science as a buzzword. So you can see different Web of Science and Scopus and related indices, they have citizen science as a buzzword, and large number of articles are getting published every year. What are the advantages per se when we are utilizing citizens for measuring science? First thing is, like, as a scientist, if I have to go to a remote area just for a count, it is going to cost me a lot. It costs my time, it costs my effort. It requires me to spend some really difficult hours to go to that particular area to count a simple thing. But if a particular group of people are living in that locality and I make them count, I can do that distant measurement without putting much effort. So measurement in distant is possible when we do citizen science. There are a lot of remote areas where there are wonderful scientific or nature related information. So such measurements can be done with the help of citizen science. Citizen science initiatives generally facilitates long time series and extended areas. If a scientist is doing his measurement or his team is doing measurement, sometimes he will do the measurements only when grant in aid is available. He can do the measurements in areas where he can go and do the observation. So that limits the area and that limits the time of measurement. And if we have a global population doing measurements for a scientific goal, we can have global networks which will allow global observations. And in general, citizen science in our experience is less expensive than other in situ samplings. I will say one more sentence that the full potential for science is yet to be tapped. It's enormous. We can have a lot of data, particularly where there is a lot of population existing in different parts of the world where the data gap is huge. We can utilize these people and get good data and come up with good science which can favor the environment. Coming to our topic of interest, we are interested in marine citizen science. And the equipment which I am dealing in this lecture is Secchi discs. So seawater is analyzed both for its color and transparency, and this small equipment can do wonders, which I will be explaining in the coming lectures. Looking into the history, initially it was a German naturalist, the first Secchi disc record I can say, the German naturalist Adalbert von Chamisso in Rurik expedition during 1815-1818. He was trying to measure the transparency of seawater, and he thought that it is better to measure using a flat surface. He tried a different way, like using a plumb line painted white with stripes or letters of black or other color. He tried that. Then he could find that white earthen plate or a board covered with white stuff can really make difference. He did some observations during that expedition, and it is recorded also. These observations were mostly, he was doing the temperature observations, sea surface and air temperature, which is not related to the disk, but at the same time, he used the disk for measuring the transparency of the water in fathoms, measured with this white disk, which I was telling. Later, as we moved on, we could see like Sir David Brewster. In 1813, he invented a small floating microscope. His interest was to see the objects underwater. So this is the second step, which we can see the evolutionary progress in the Secchi discs. Then we can see in the history that there was Louis Isidore Duperrey, a French naval officer. He tried to measure the water transparency using a white painted plank. During a different time, he tried to measure like how it is varying in different weather conditions. All those information is there. As noted by himself in his chapter, the first one is his chapter in French, and we have tried to translate it using Google Translator, and you can see like during different weather conditions at different depths, he could see like he could measure the transparency of the water. Later, we have another French writer, Xavier de Maistre. He was using a square iron plate. He was using a square iron plate which was painted white, and he was trying to suspend it horizontally along with a white card so that he can lower it to see how the transparency of the water was affected and what is the type of different colors as the equipment was moving down and down, varying from the transparent waters to the slight sensible green tinge to the darker beautiful green tinges, making somewhere towards the yellow, and that almost the darker shades were seen when the depth was increasing, and finally the equipment was not visible. So this is some of the observations he made during 1832. A missionary bishop in USA, Jackson Kemper, he tried to see like how white towel can be used to measure the clearness of the water. He was using the white towel. As you know, the white towel can better filter out some of the objects which can be up to 6 or 7 fathoms. He tied a white towel in a line and lowered it to see this. Then it was Lieutenant Charles Wilkes from US Navy. During 1838 to 1842, he was using a white painted iron pot to get some information. Further, he tried to use a sphere of hoops where he covered them with white cloth, and he also recorded some of the information which is part of a meteorological table where the data was available for the years 1838, 39, 40, 41 and 42. Captain Auguste Berard, he used a porcelain dinner plate mounted in a fish net during the French Arago expedition in 1845. Samuel Phillips Lee, he used a white painted wood square blocks. So all these were different ways in which people were trying to use or invent their own mechanism to improve the measurement of transparency of the water. But the real man was Pietro Angelo Secchi in 1865. He could publish indicating that the standard method is by lowering a white painted disc into the water until it disappeared out of the sight. That's how we could measure the transparency. It was clearly explained by Pietro Angelo Secchi in 1865. And it was named as Secchi disc method, as it was standardized by around in the beginning of 20th century that water transparency observations by means of 30 centimeter white disc is the best way to measure the transparency of the water. But there were some counter arguments also in 1901. You can see like the Austrian scientist Joseph Roman Lorenzo van Libranu. He told that there is no point in telling it as Secchi disc by naming in his name. He told that the method can be better called as the disc system. But over a period of time, people started using it as Secchi disc method only. Some of the recent initiatives which are running perfectly with this disc is the study by Dr. Richard Kirby. He's an independent plankton scientist. CIFAS, based in United Kingdom, they are having a historic Secchi depth measurements. They are trying to expand this in different parts of the world. Even there are some collaborative which is happening in India also. City Clubs, a project funded by the European Commission. Cooperative Lakes Monitoring Program, CLMP, for around 11,000 inland lakes in Michigan in United States. The Secchi Dipping Program, the Lay Monitoring Program on Lake George in New York. These are some of the major Secchi disc initiatives happening in different parts of the world. I am borrowing some of the slides from my mentor, Professor Platt and Dr. Shubha. They together used these slides in different lectures. Color of the water is one thing which has inspired not only the scientists, but poets, artists, geographers, sailors, fishermen, and explorers. The color of water can provide vital information. We are all well aware of it. It can be used for knowing details on fishing also. In the history, whaling captains, notably by William Cosby, and he was particularly observant on some of these things. And the color of the ocean, as seen in different ship cruises, indicate the color of the sea with remarkable differences. Airborne sensors were utilized in the initial period during 1923 by Alistair Hardy. He could observe a sharp line separating the green water of the channel from the deep blue of the Atlantic. If the market color changes can be interpreted, he was of the opinion that we can make immediate surveys to come out with the surface condition information so that we can relate them with fisheries. That was his idea, Alistair Hardy's idea. Coming to the classification of the waters using the color, transparency is one thing, but what are the color components which are really doing it? One of the initial records is with respect to Francois Alphonse Forel. He proposed that the color classification standards, his proposition was from the color codes which you can see from 1 to 11, which ranges from around blue to different shades of green. He was making some chemical mixtures in glass tubes to compare the color of the water. So his color codes, we can say it was FU 1 to 11. Later, German Wilhelm Yule, he added 10 more extra levels ranging from blue, green to brown. So now the scale is comprising of 21 color codes, which is going from indigo blue to cola brown. And there are intermediary colors, blue, green, and yellow, all together made this FU code. You can see like from this different mixtures which were used, these mixtures, when they were used to produce the real color, people said that the color of the solutions used can be even toxic also. So they wanted to avoid toxic chemicals, but at the same time develop some strips which can be easily used for studying such color of the surface waters, and a few scales in water quality monitoring started in the real sense when Nuova Italy 2014, they started using the strips for doing this in different mobile applications. We also started using this in a different form in a citizen science program where we had the mini Secchi disk. This is not the typical Secchi disk which is used in marine measurements. It's a different Secchi disk. This has been developed by Tom and Bob. Bob is in the panel again. I told he will be answering some of our queries also. So they developed the mini Secchi disk with the 3D FU color code printed on it. You can see that mini Secchi disk on the screen. And this is the equipment by which they can measure the transparency. They can measure the color of the water. Two things are measured. At the same time, this information has to be coming under the supervision or scientific analysis of some scientists. So we have used this equipment to develop a citizen science network, and the citizen were transferring this data using a mobile application known as Turb Aqua. This mobile application is available in Google Play Store. So you can use this Secchi disk to measure the transparency of the water, to see like what is the FU color code of that particular water body, and transfer the information using this Turb Aqua mobile application. Our 3D printed mini Secchi disk which we used in the application was typically of 20 to 30 centimeter. It is slightly different from the conventional Secchi disk because our mini Secchi disk, which has this 3D printed mini Secchi disk, which was having the FU color code, it can be pocket held. It can be carried to different places easily. So more people can use it. More people can carry it easily. So it is a simple handheld pocket-sized device with the FU color code printed on it. It was developed by Tom and Bob, I told, when they were part of the PML. Tom was working in the education system, and Bob was working in PML at that time. And the mobile application was completely developed at ICR Simafari to transmit the data generated using this disk during its operation in Vemina Lake. The entire information is available in Bob's paper on the design of this 3D printed mini Secchi disk. And regarding the Turb Aqua application and how we have used the citizen science network, we have used the entire study and published it in another publication, which is also mentioned here. Now coming to the place where we conducted the study, this is for your information. You will be dreaming like how best I can utilize this disk. How can I use a particular mobile application to transfer the data, and how can I monitor a lake? So I am coming to the study. We have selected a particular lake which is called Vembanad Lake, where we had in situ measurements also, so as to standardize the studies what we are carrying out. We had in situ samples from 13 different stations which are indicated here. This is one of the 3 Ramsar sites in Kerala. It's one of the longest lake systems in India, and a lot of rivers drain into this. And it is a critically vulnerable coastal area, which indicates that the community wanted this water body for their livelihood. The people are directly dependent on the different resources in this water body for their regular livelihood and related activities. So you can see these are the different types of activities, the professional activities happening, which is related to the water very much. Tourism is very much prominent in this area. Those who have not visited Kerala, I invite all of you to come to this place and have a beautiful ride on the houseboats. Tourism is very prominent here. We have a lot of coastal aquaculture activities, a lot of farming activities, freshwater aquaculture activities, capture fisheries, and capture fisheries of clams as well as fishes are happening in this lake. So coming to the people who have done the Secchi disk measurements, we have invited initially the different colleges which are affiliated to the universities in this place and gave a training so that they will be very much familiar in doing the disk measurements properly. Even though we can say that it is a simple equipment and what we are measuring is simple, there can be a lot of erroneous measurements possible. So we wanted to train them. So we conducted a training program at our institute, which is at Central Marine Fisheries Research, which is located at Cochin. And we gave them a training. We installed the mobile application in their mobile phones, and they started giving us the information through this mobile application to our server. This is the first interaction what we had. You can see the local language, which is Malayalam. And at the same time, we had one in English also. and we did hands-on training on mini secchi disc and turb aqua application. The different colleges, I told it was first we targeted the different colleges because students are more enthusiastic and energetic, and there is a faculty to monitor them. So our interest was that monitoring is possible through the faculty and the measurements can be possible through the energetic students. So there is a faculty to scientifically monitor the different readings they are taking, and there is help in the form of volunteer help in the form of students who are interested in doing the measurements. You can see all the different colleges in the vicinity of Vembanad Lake who were involved in taking measurements from this particular lake, and the lead institutes, NERSI India, NIO Kochi, and the ICR Simafare also can be seen in this picture. The second step was to involve more people. So we wanted to see like if there are people who are interested in monitoring the lake using this 3D printed mini secchi disc. We thought of some NGOs, some lawyer group associations. Our institute is very close to the High Court of Kerala. So some lawyer group associations, they also wanted to take part in this activities. Then there are a lot of houseboat owners. I have indicated that this place is very famous for tourism. There are a lot of houseboats plying in and around the lake. So if the people who are working in the houseboat, they have some leisure time and they can use this disc, we can get plenty of information from the lake. So we organized such a seminar, and around 70 participants from different sectors were called. The mayor of Cochin herself, because it's a citizen science initiative, we wanted to involve the leader of the people. So she came to the institute and we had a training program just like the one I explained for the students. It gained a lot of media attention because the lake is having a lot of challenges as such. Pollution is happening in the lake. The people say that the lake is dying. So information on the lake is very crucial, and this network could have been a savior. That was the way the media projected, and we could work to their expectation also, and the citizen scientists all contributed to our effort. We developed a small manual. Our institute is having a repository which is also shown in the link here. You can download the manual which is related to the operation of mini secchi disc and the mobile application turb aqua developed as part of the DST revival project, which is led by Dr. Shubha Satyendra. She is also in the panel. You can see like how we have explained the different steps. The most important thing is on measuring the secchi depth. This is the information copied with courtesy from the mini secchi manual version 10 published by PML. So they have clearly indicated how to do the secchi measurements. The secchi measurements is done by lowering the white disc into the water and recording the depth at which it disappears. We are slowly lowering the disc, and at a particular depth it disappears. When it is disappearing, we are still not able to judge it properly whether it disappeared at the right spot. So we start slowly hauling it back. Then we know that it is reappearing again. So it is the exact point where it disappears and reappears. So we are able to make a 2-point confirmation. But first it is disappearing, then we are hauling it back, it is suddenly appearing. So it is at that particular point we can tell that it is the secchi depth. So we have different sets of measurement. Initially, we take the distance from the place we are keeping the handheld device and the surface of the water where the disc touches it. That indicates the distance from the place where we are holding the secchi disc and where it is touching the surface of the water. That is the first measurement. This is called boat level to water surface. It is how we recorded it in the mobile application. Then we take the total distance from the device to the depth at which the disc totally disappears. And in the mobile application, we tell this as boat level to secchi disc visible level. This is recorded in meters. Now we have to measure the color of the water body. It is by keeping the disc somewhere around half of the secchi depth. We know the secchi depth. It's the surface from the place where it is disappearing. So half of this distance we are hauling it back and keeping it. And at that place and matching it to the closest number on the color scale. You can see the color scale. The FU color code is imprinted from 1 to 21. So we have the secchi depth. This depth varies with the changes in the water clarity. If the water is turbid, the clarity is less, the transparency is less. So accordingly, we get different color codes also. So we are using the color codes properly to see what is the secchi depth. And we are using the color codes to record the color of the water at the half of the secchi depth. You can see the photos and clearly understand how it is being done. In our term aqua, it's an interface between the user and the scientist who is sitting at the institute. This can be easily downloaded from the Google Play Store. Now we have come up with the version number 2. I will tell how the version 1 and version 2 was different. We are trying to get some information of the people who are doing it, because when the information is coming and we have to cross check some of the things regarding the quality of the data, we need to contact them back. So we are trying to get some information registered when they are downloading the app from the Google Play Store. The person who are downloading the app, they have to input their name and mobile number and click a login. A 6-digit OTP number is sent to the person who is registering into their mobile number. They can enter the OTP and click verify. You can see the type of information reaching to us. This information from the mobile application, it is reaching us in this form. There is a serial number, there is a username, there is the board level, the sea level, the water color. Initially, we were thinking of temperature sensors also to attach to the SecureDisk, but unfortunately, since it's becoming costlier in our effort to do it, we avoided the temperature sensor. We get the lat long information. Lat long information automatically gets entered because now in mobile applications, the GPS-based lat long information entry is possible. So we use that facility to get the location information. Once the location is turned on, you will get the lat and long information and the date and time at which this activity is taking place. In addition, we have asked the citizen scientists to take an image of the water body so that the color of the water can be deciphered from the image also. My student Ansi, she is part of this activity, and even the preparation of this slide was largely with her help. So she is analyzing these images using simple machine learning tools so that we can have better quality information using the images also. So we are using these images so as to refine our own scientific activities. This is how the data is appearing in the server. The main brains behind the 3D printed mini SecureDisk, I explained it is Tom and Bob. Tom is an industrial design expert and Bob is a marine optics expert. They have their own company, BrevTech. They provide absolutely very good service, and their intention is to improve the environmental awareness, at the same time do a lot of scientific data mining using the data sets available when we work on this equipment. A lot of scientific publications has come out of this. The prototype was presented at a kaleidoscope of color from the turbid to the oligotrophic meeting of the Challenger and Remote Sensing and Photogrammetry Society Marine Optics Special Interest Group, December 2013 in Plymouth. And you can see, like, from 2013 onwards, there is massive increase in the requirement of this mini SecureDisk, and we are one of the successful stakeholders of this invention. From mini SecureDisk, they are still trying to standardize a lot of things. They are coming into MIDI SecureDisk. MIDI is a larger version with the 20-meter tape for use in the coastal ocean, where secure depths are deeper than 10 meters. Mini is used mostly in inland water bodies like lakes, which are shallower, but MIDI is used in deeper water bodies, which is more than 10 meters. All SecureDisks now come with a weight and have provision to add additional weights easily, so that when there are situations when they are drifting so much, the measurement is not possible. So there are additional weight possibilities. Extra weights are provided by BrewTech with the device if requested. Still, the SecureDisks are 3D printed. However, the brothers are working on a molded version. For larger batches of the 3D printed version, the price is ranging between 60 to 80 pounds each, pending mini or MIDI. For single pieces, around £90 to 100 each. I think you can be in touch with Bob for getting more information on the commercial aspect of it. This mini SecureDisk measurements done in the EU H 2020 project monocly, where a pH paper was attached with a clip on the disk. You can see, like, globally which all places this measurement took place. All said, citizen science is coming with a lot of challenges. There is a lot of problem with the data quality and reliability. People can do it for fun also. When we are engaging people do measurements, but that measurements may not be accurate. When we are sometimes doing the measurements in a lake water body, we sometimes get wrong information that the measurement has been done on the land. This is probably because the people are doing the measurement in the water and they are entering the data in the land. So such issues are coming up. In certain parts of India, we have network issues while uploading the data. So that's another problem. We are trying to come up with a better solution. Getting a continued engagement of the citizen science. People may have interest for a certain period of time. Then they may tend to lose the interest. To sustain this effort, we have done this because we had a project. We were continuously motivating the people through different lectures, and she was instrumental in doing the second phase. She was going to the colleges, interacting with the students, motivating them. So this is done because there is a funding, there is a project going on. If there is no funding, how to continuously engage people in getting the information? One way to do is like to give them advisories back. If they are reporting some information, we are giving some advisories back to them, telling that the water quality is so much, you can use it for this particular purposes. Like that information is going, sometimes it can improve. But as of now, we don't have such a facility to inform them back about the water quality. Accessibility to the remote locations of the lake. When a person is doing the measurement, he is an amateur, he may not be a professional. So if I am asking him to measure from the lake waters, he may stand on the bank of on the land part of the terrestrial part of the lake and try to do some measurements where the water is available. But really the information pertaining to the deeper parts of the lake will not be available. But if you are definitely utilizing the houseboat operators or some ferries which are being operational in the lake, we can get better data. Limited number of mini CK discs. We don't have these discs in large numbers. People may be interested in taking them when it is available for free, but when it is priced, people may not be motivated also. So it requires a lot of motivation for participation. So these are some of the challenges what we faced during our citizen science activity. Now coming to, I told about the quality of the images. We have witnessed a lot of issues with respect to the different images we have received in this citizen science, that I told that ANSI is trying to work on the different images obtained and apply some machine learning techniques to get better information on the quality of the water from the lake. We have shadows sometimes. We have edited or cropped images also. Sun glint is seen. Lake bottom visibility is having some reflections, unwanted substances, ripples. Images really not covering the water body because the water bodies are really not good. That's why we are monitoring them. Sometimes there can be massive presence of aquatic weeds. Sometimes land area is seen along with the water body. Floating vegetation and debris is a common problem in many of these lakes, and these are some of the problems what we are facing when we are capturing the images. We have come up with an improvised version, Tarbaqua version 2, where one problem is like we are measuring color, but we are not really authenticating that the person who is measuring is having a color vision. So we have included color vision test. First time when you are registering, you have to undergo this test and register yourself so that we know that your color vision is perfect. Then we have come up with some slight modification. We wanted to really know like what was the environmental condition during that time, whether it was raining or whether wind was there, whether the bottom was visible, whether you are really trained. We have done series of trainings. ANSI and Nandakishore, probably he is also attending this lecture. They have been part of this scientific team and they were independently doing awareness among the college students to involve many of them in these activities. So we have been doing a lot of trainings to get them into the system and do a proper measurements at the same time keeping them motivated. In our turbidity calculator also, we have added a mechanism in which we can improve the location specifics. You can zoom into the proper location. Sometimes the locations are going wrong, so we wanted to zoom into the location specifics also. Sometimes when they are taking image, just because they are not rightly taking the image, it results in a lot of distorted images. So we have come up with a mechanism in which if the image is proper, there will be a green circle with a pointed center, which clearly indicates that the font requires adjustments till the green circle is coming up with the white dot to capture the image. ANSI has come up with some more additional features so that her interest is also served. She is more interested in images. So she thought like even if CK discs are not available, people can use this application just to send the images and color code. So she has developed a color code into the mobile application where she has given all the color codes so that we can select the right color code for the water body and then send the information of the images and the water body. using this application. But still we are yet to enable this particular feature alone, because as a scientist, we are interested in the transparency measurements also. So we have not enabled the color code plus image alone option. But as he told, it will be very useful if we get more images with the proper color code information. These are some of the outreach programs ANSI and Nandakishore took got involved in different colleges, and they were doing the brainstorming in all these colleges. Really, what we gained in the study. As a scientist, we could do measurements only at 13 stations. I was indicating that. The red spots in the first figure indicates the 13 stations from which we have got information. But you see the crowd of information what was generated by the citizen scientists. Even they went to the tributaries of the lake. You may see some yellow spots. You may think that it is land area. Initially, we were also thinking like it may be land area when we plotted. But when we closely looked into them, there were some tributaries of this lake. So we got a lot of information from different parts of this water body. So you can imagine the plethora of information we got only because citizens were involved. And you can see the increase in frequency of observation in certain location, particularly close to the city area of Cochin, where the lake is opening to the seawater. There are a lot of academic institutions related to fisheries, oceanography, and related sciences, and massive frequent observations are happening in the bar mouth area. Finally, the spatial based plots based on lake utilization could be created. So you can imagine, like, without this color codes and the information, we could not create this. And this is having a lot of relevance. Like when it comes to an industrial area, the color is different. When it comes to a fishing area, the color is different. When the boat operations are done in those areas, the transparency is more. So we could see like different activities can have different links to some of the information what we have generated. These are the most frequent colors we observed in the lake area, which range from 11 to 21 mostly. These are the different colors which we have witnessed in the lake. We could see like when we are getting time series information, what happened to the lake in 2019 based on the color, what happened to the lake in 2020, and what happened to the lake in 2021. We could see like how the Vembanad lake was behaving, but mostly it consists of greenish brown to brownish green waters. 88% of the images clearly indicate that it is greenish brown to brownish green color. So the Forelliul color typically ranges from 14 to 17 in our FU scale. So with this equipment, the mobile application, we have developed some water quality related products, and this has got additional implications with the spectral information. In general, in most of your training up to this time, you must have seen something which is coming from the Earth observation satellites. You have seen some information coming from the in situ observations, in situ sensors. Sensors or in situ observations are giving you some data sets. Satellite Earth observations are giving you some data sets. But still there is something missing. A lot of things are missing. These missing areas can easily be bridged, where the research gap between satellite monitoring and in situ sampling can be patched up for real-time assessment of water bodies. That is exactly what we did. And coming to the biooptics, like some of this information has already been discussed, so I am skipping this fast. You are familiar with IOCCG. IOCCG reports clearly indicates definitions on what are the different terms used in biooptics. You can go through them and how we can use the spectral information for inorganic suspended matter, dissolved organic matter, and phytoplankton, which has got big role in biooptics. So similar to the biooptical information generated, we can have complexity in the case two orders where phytoplankton, yellow substances, suspended material, they come in different combinations. When we studied Vembanad Lake also, we could see like the water color is different, and accordingly the spectra also changes. But in general, there is the contribution of the detrital matter, what is contributing to the reflectance pattern of the Vembanad Lake. The detritus matter, AD, the absorption at with the detritus is the dominant component contributing to the absorption. The brown color in the diagram shows the dominance of the detritus matter. So remote sensing reflectance is very high in sediments in the Vembanad Lake. So these are some of the major results what we achieved during our study. We could see the variation in seasons, but at the same time, what is the relative contribution of the different optical constituents of water was also generated in the study using in situ sampling and we could improve some of the existing relationship. There was a Cosim et al. In 1968, they have come up with a relationship between the mean attenuation coefficient and 1 by d in Cochin backwaters. So his relation was 1.5 by d, and we could improve the relation 0.7 by d, which indicates that the lake is getting deteriorated much over a period of time. That's why it's 0.7 by d. The transparency in the water is not so good. There is a lot of change what has happened in the lake over a period of 55 years. A significant inverse relation was noted in the case of turbidity against Seki depth. Coming to the real component on the indicators of the UN Water 2021, where people are having unsafe water. A lot of people are not having access to proper drinking water. The number is huge. The data statistics indicate that there is serious effort which is needed in this area to have safe drinking water for the people. And this results in a lot of water associated diseases, and the Sustainable Development Goal number 6, which is for clean water and sanitation, is a distant dream. You can see the situation in India and the situation in the globe also. In India as well as because I am from India, I have this statistics, and most of these things have been discussed repeatedly. So water associated diseases are on rise. And if the color of the water with the transparency of the water can give some good information, which can be related to these indicators, it can come up with some wonderful scientific discoveries which can be path breaking. So our first strategy was as part of the revival program, which has been discussed before earlier in the lectures of Dr. Gemma as well as Dr. Shubha, where we were trying to monitor the lake and come up with some advisories which can be related to the water associated diseases. Particularly, we were trying to address Vibrio cholera and trying to develop an epidemiological model. So we were trying to use this information, in which the user engagement, which I was discussing earlier, was part of it. Now we are trying to improve upon it. We are trying to see like how better we can do about these things. We have another project, waterborne infectious diseases and global earth observation in the near shore. The project is named Vigion. Here we are trying to create much more better databases, and we are trying to promote citizen science using another mobile application to collect real-time information on sanitary conditions. How good are the sanitary conditions in the places? So we have identified some areas, and we are trying to see like how best we can identify and characterize the health conditions of some of the most known recreational beaches in this part of the world. I told this is a tourist destination. Also, we have a lot of beautiful beaches. So we are trying to see like how best we can tell about the health conditions of these things. We are trying to combine this with some information which we have gathered from the citizen. So for that purpose, we have developed a mobile application called Cleanse. This is a smartphone application developed by our team, where Nansen Environmental Research Center India and the National Institute of Oceanography were the leading partners. We developed this application for sanitation surveying. In our part of the world, the population density is very high. So people live very close by. The different houses will be separated by a very small distance. And sometimes the drinking water sources and the septic tank can be very close by, because the area available for habitation is very less. So this can result in some of the possible contaminations for drinking water sources. In addition, we are trying to combine disease database with earth observation and model data to develop better early warning systems on diseases outbreak which are happening in this area using machine learning approaches. Color is very important. So ocean color also is an important area where we can do many things, and it can socially benefit a lot of things. So these are some of the major activities which are very much related to the citizen science measurements what we are undertaking. You can see the mobile application Cleanse which is being done. This application has been developed to collect information, as I was telling. So we get all this information like the GPS location and how the people are answering to it and what all information are coming to it. So based on that, we give this information in a bilingual mode so that people can answer the questions easily, so that citizens can participate. We have generated a lot of information based on ESA Vigian project, And the preliminary observations clearly indicate that 73% of households have not done any kind of water quality tests and believe that the drinking water that they get is totally uncontaminated, which is not the truth. And most of the households have septic tanks, most of them. But the problems faced by the community is that when there is flooding happening during seawater intrusions during southwest monsoon time and extreme rainfall conditions, there is a possibility of mixing of septic tank water with the drinking water sources also. Even the typical issues on hygiene were also discussed in the questionnaire, and we could see that many of the hygienic protocols are failing in this part of the world. We have issues of waterborne illness happening because the hygiene situations are not good. We have contamination of the water bodies happening because of the contamination happening between the septic tanks as well as the drinking water sources, and it results in diseases such as cholera, diarrhea, typhoid, amoebiasis, hepatitis, gastroenteritis, giardiasis, and many number of other enteric and related worm infections also. A integrated disease surveillance program is there by the government of India. It's a decentralized state-based surveillance system for a range of diseases that are of public importance. We get some data from private practitioners also. Some of the syndromic surveillance, specifically non-specific health indicators, including signs, symptoms. For example, people may complain that they can have dysentery, but if we know that there is an epidemic in the form of cholera, then it can be related to cholera also. Such mostly syndromic surveillance also is taking place, and government sometimes reports only cases which are diagnosed only in public hospitals or confirmed by the government recognized laboratories. Otherwise, the data seems very scarce. Basically, in general, we have issues because of contamination of water sources, poor sanitation and hygiene practices, lack of access to safe drinking water, and climate change and related disasters. When there are storm surges happening because of cyclones and other things, it can also contaminate the drinking water sources. We have issues of pollution also. And when the pollution is happening, it can result in poor microbial quality. And finally, when there is poor microbial quality, there can be increase in the frequency of the diseases, what is happening, which can be related to climate change because there are floods, droughts, cyclones, receding coastlines, and increase in waterborne diseases, what is happening over a period of time. So I want to show like citizen science data can show wonderful results. This was one court order which made the civilians to demolish some of the flats which was located along the banks of Vembanad Lake. But so as to study the impact of this demolition on the lake water, we could use the citizen science data. And the panelist, Dr. Nandini Menon, she could publish citizen science tools reveal changes in estuarine water quality following demolition of buildings. So now one of the important data sets available from the vicinity was this citizen science data. And my paper on citizen science contribute to real-time monitoring of lake water quality using 3D printed mini circuit disk is indicating how best we can develop a network of system where we can get such information. And we have worked on all this water quality related indices and the distribution of fecal contamination, which was by Anas et al. And the designing in sensors by Bob and his team, and how intrinsically this water quality can be related to whether it is the color of the water or other optical constituents. Is there a possibility to study the changes what is happening in the optical constituent to relate it with the environmental reservoirs of Vibrio? Marie Fanier recall they have she has tried to review on the different aspects and come up with some solutions. We got an opportunity in 2020 because of COVID. The anthropogenic disturbances were less, so the effect of reduced anthropogenic activities on water quality in Lake Vembanad was done by Gemma. She's also a panelist. She was introducing me. And further, Anas again came to the dynamics of the Vibrio cholera in this lake system, where he tried to relate it with the remote sensing and risk mapping. So it's not a single effort from my institute side. I got tremendous support from my director, Dr. A. Gopalakrishnan, Dr. Somi Kuriakos, Dr. Mini. And as I told, in the long way we ran, Professor Dr. Trevor Platt, he was instrumental in conceiving most of these ideas. We were just foot soldiers, and he empowered us in doing such things. It is not my brainchild or not my intellectual thinking. It was his vision. He wanted to do something for the society. I happened to be one of the person who was sitting in his vicinity who would pick up some of these ideas and do with his support. And Professor Dr. Shubha Satyendranath, she was also equally contributing and motivating us in doing things. When we were falling, she was trying to support us. When we were moving away, she was trying to bring our focus back into things. And I got a lot of support from Dr. Nandini Menon. Even in this presentation also, it's not my brains which has really gone into it. She has put a lot of efforts in refining it along with our team members. Shubha ma'am also did a good job in doing this. Anas was doing the microbiology part, and I was absent as it was indicated. I was on deputation. So Dr. Somi and Dr. Mini was taking care of the activities, and Bob was the man behind the equipment. I think in the panel discussion, we can hear a lot from him. And most of my activities were not restricted to the one funding agency. We have developed things with the support of different funding agencies, which have been acknowledged here. I know that there are a lot of questions coming in. I saw some of the questions being shown here. I will stop here because it's typically 1 hour time which was given to me. Let us have a free and fair discussion. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks, Tom and others, and all the panelists who are sitting here. Thanks, European Space Agency. I know Stefano is also is joining as part of the panel, and his support financially in grant in aid also was very useful in taking these activities forward.